Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Thank you for the opportunity to share what we do in the Krinsky Group. The Krinsky Group is 35 years old, and we have, just by means of who we are and what we do, we own a number of indoor tennis facilities. We own indoor golf simulators. We are in the region of about 200 rental properties that we own and manage. We have a consulting arm of the business, and the consulting arm consults in areas of summer camps and programs, the areas of staffing, and we also consult in the areas of buying, managing facilities. We also own and operate more than 25 different summer camps and programs, and we see roughly 5,000 students or so a summer. We bring them into the Philadelphia area, and they come from more than 25 different states and 40 different countries, so that's quite a nice mix of students when they all get together here during the summer. We also have a non-profit component of the business that's been established for some time. As far as the business started with Julian Krinsky a number of years back, and it started with tennis. He's a professional tennis player. Played Wimbledon, played French Open, and on the board of executives currently, I think all of us are sportsmen, all actually tennis players, some in some other sports as well. But our organization is really based on a group of sportsmen, athletes that have gone through the rigors of training, and I think we've brought some of what we've learned in sport to the business field. It started with tennis, and it wasn't long after that Julian, being an entrepreneur, he actually was as I mentioned, a professional tennis player, but he also was a CPA, qualified as a lawyer, and decided to pursue the passion of tennis and bring his entrepreneurial flair to that. It wasn't long after the start of the tennis program where at the end of the day he started letting the students hit some golf balls, and before you knew it, we started a golf camp. Next thing that came was a business program, and Julian always had a passion to tie business and the sports of business, which he called it, tennis and golf, together. We found out by doing that and listening to the students that what we have created was a new model, for us anyway, where we didn't have to only focus on the elite athletes, and we had an opportunity to start focusing on more than just athletics as well. One of our driving forces is a world without strangers, and this started to really manifest itself as we started to open up different programs. After the business program, we ventured into enrichment programs, and in our current enrichment programs you can do anything from mud wrestling to, I'm joking, not mud wrestling, cooking, business, just about anything you can imagine, photography. And today we include programs that do basketball. We also partner with a number of different people, including someone like the Wharton Sports Business. We partner with them to run a program for the NFL. So it's been an amazing journey in terms of what we're involved in. We really have two models that we primarily have. The first is programs we initiate, start, own ourselves entirely, and those are primarily all our sports programs. And the second model that we have done very successfully is we've been able to partner with primarily universities, and what would happen in that kind of an instance, I mentioned Wharton Sports Business. Wharton is a good example. We partnered with them. They put in place a curriculum, and they put their academic staff in place to teach a program during the summer, and we do everything else from the marketing and recruiting to bringing the students over here, managing the logistics, training up the staff, running all the activities, and making sure the students are safe. And that model has been very successful for us. To date, we're currently operating programs at the University of Pennsylvania. We operate programs at Villanova University, at Haverford College. We actually rent the courts here at Easton. And in the past we've been, and are still very much engaged with, Cabrini College right across the road. We have been involved with Bryn Mawr College. We've been involved with Bentley and Babson up in Massachusetts. We've been involved with Lake Forest in Chicago. We've run programs in California. We've run programs at Princeton University, and I'm sure I've missed one or two. The interesting thing is that model is a win-win model on so many levels. The universities have empty space during the summer. Their classrooms aren't being used. Their sports facilities in some cases aren't being used. Their beds are empty. And so to find someone like us who's prepared to pay for that is a good deal for them. For us, it's a great place to bring students from all around the world and house them while we do the kind of programming that we plan to do with them. So that's worked out really well for us. The other thing that's really interesting, and it's catching on more now, is that universities are fighting for the rising seniors and juniors more and more. It's a really competitive marketplace and field out there. And this opportunity gives the universities some time to showcase themselves to students who are potentially their demographic. So by bringing them to universities and colleges, they get to live on campus, eat on campus, get to know the campus, in some cases get to meet some of the faculty and staff, and then hopefully influence their decision when they're ready to go to university or college. So it's been really a good thing on a lot of levels. As far as our business is concerned, the culture of the business, I mentioned very briefly, a world without strangers is really who we are, bringing people together from just so many different places, and the success stories that we've heard over the 35 years are just too many to tell, but that they are really, I guess, a driving force for who we are. We're a small business doing big business, meaning we're really family style, and with the family style you get everything that goes along with it. You get the emotion, and that's where the social component, I believe, really comes in. We've been involved in a number of social endeavors, somewhat by accident, over all these years, because our core focus has been for-profit business. And so over the years, we've really stumbled into a number of social endeavors. Now we realize it's really good for business. It really is good for business. It's obviously really good for the heart, and it's obviously the right thing to do, you know. So we've come that full circle where, without even knowing what a triple bottom line is, we've kind of stumbled into it and are really enjoying the space we're in right now in terms of that. And the last component of that is, had we not done that, it would have been an eye-opener anyway, because our customer base right now demands that. They choose to come to us not only because of the high caliber and quality of what we do and offer, but they choose to come to us because they like us, they like who we are and what we stand for. And so that what you stand for component becomes a bigger deal, you know, as you go, and that's where the social component comes in. So in trying to determine who we are, or, you know, from a social perspective, our social identity, we've dabbled in a number of things, and I'd like to share some of those with you because it's a journey we've gone through. We started a program called Camp Pals right across the road at Cabrini College. It was a program, it still is a program, for Down syndrome students. And that came about because a parent picking up their son from us said, why don't you run something like this for Down syndrome kids? I have a son who's a Down syndrome boy. One thing led to another. We partnered with a couple of students and raised the finances, put the program together, ran it incredibly successfully. 5 years later, handed it over to a couple of students from Princeton and from Wharton who partnered with us from the start of this program. And now they are running it entirely on their own. We were able to hand it over. It's now operating in 5 different states. Incredibly successful, wonderful process, and really touching the community. We currently are involved in building tennis courts in Africa. Tennis is clearly one of our passions. We also have an infrastructure where we collect sporting equipment, some of it brand new, some of it lightly used. It's an interesting term, lightly used sports equipment, and we then redistribute it all over the world to places where they can utilize that. So that's been very interesting and successful so far. We also have been mindful of reducing our carbon footprint. Who isn't these days? And I think it's a good thing. From the recycling bits and pieces to owning a lot of facilities. We're looking at our lights and solar usage of the power. We've moved to work from home schedules during a part of the year to alleviate travel, to alleviate time on the road, gas, wear and tear on your car, and that's worked very successfully for us as well. So we're trying to be mindful of that footprint as well. And the interesting thing is what we've, over the period of time, learned from these endeavors, or really in the process of learning, because we really haven't figured this all out yet. Our focus is still yet profit. So this is some of what we do somewhat on the side, is we've figured out where we want to be involved is trying to be involved in an area where we can consolidate our efforts, and we can create something that's somewhat sustainable. And what I mean by that is, and I'll give you an example of what we're currently, our latest endeavor is, we are partnering with a group in South Africa called Edunova. A quick overview of Edunova: they place technology in local schools and they teach and train the staff and faculty how to utilize that from an educational perspective. So it's not just putting computers in schools, it's actually teaching them to use them as resources. They're currently in more than 40 schools in South Africa, and we're partnering with them. The 30,000-foot overview is finding one or two people within a community who are definitely entrepreneurial, training them up, where our focus is going to be on physical training them up how to run a gym. They will have skills in basketball and soccer as well. And what we'll be doing is placing these people in a business of their own, giving them a business that we've established for them. The training then will allow them to start as entrepreneurs and serve as the community that they're in. We're going to be placing them in schools alongside Edgenova. Edgenova has a presence in each school, so we'll place them in a school. They will then serve as the community that is in that area, offering them gym memberships, physical training, obviously running soccer leagues, basketball leagues. We're still figuring out who to partner with in the soccer and the basketball realm. And the cost for them to own this business that we've given them, because obviously there's equipment, there's buildings, there's all those things that we're raising money for and putting in place, would be then to service the school and run the school's soccer leagues, basketball leagues, and train the school's athletes in terms of physical fitness. That model excites us a lot because, and in fact right now the South African government is quite excited about the model because it's giving people an opportunity to figure out how to redefine the fishing industry, as you alluded to, putting an entrepreneur in place and giving him an opportunity to do something not only for himself but in the community is a really exciting concept for us. And just then to bring it back, for us where we're in the business of making profit. We work with customers, students, families from all over the world, and as you know, definitely in the sporting realm, you get to know these people incredibly well over a period of time, especially when they send their students from around the world to live with you. You become their parents, and you walk through every trial and every joy with them, which is a wonderful experience. We can't take our focus off that entirely, but therefore, something like this that is self-sustaining, which we can duplicate and replicate, and our vision is to run it globally, including in the United States, once this pilot program is up and running. That's the kind of thing a company like us is very excited about being involved in for all those reasons. Thank you.